Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024. Sorry, oh, I said 19. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. You know, before we get into what's on tap for tonight's show, Tim, I don't know if you can hear me because I know you're muted, but if you can hear me, would
Yeah.
you like to do an intro? Like basically, the shtick, right? You know.
Yes, I do know the shtick. My name is Timothy Lee Olson. I am the creator of Melvin. Issues 1 and 2 special editions are available on Walmart, Amazon, and Barnes and Noble websites.
All right, and of course, as always, if you ever want at any point during the show, Tim, if you want to share your links, you're more than welcome to. Um, so with that, now with the intros out of the way here, let's talk about what's on tap for tonight. So now we're gonna go over a couple articles from Bounding into Comics, primarily anime related. Uh, Apparently, some of the executives over in Japan are now feeling that they have to quote unquote bend the knee, as apparently Disney plus Japan, one of their execs is talking about the idea of trying
Is
to
that only
appeal.
is that only Disney though? Because I mean, they have, if they work for Disney, they have to tend to do what Disney wants them to do, or say
Well,
what Disney.
that's just the one article, but there has been some rumblings that possibly because like Sony's been trying to get more involved over there, you know, with anime and trying to become more influential, you know.
Isn't that
So
isn't that kind of like what happened to Japan in its histories, where other countries would try or trying to get involved in its doings?
yes, that point has been made very much by myself and some of the other commentators on it, Tim.
You
That
know, with the Portuguese and the English trying to get weasel their way into Japan, or
mhm,
Catholic involvement in Japan,
mhm.
so forth and so on.
Yeah. Also, of course, aside from that, Crunchyroll acquired the theatrical rights to some of the movies coming out, including Blue Lock, Haikyuu, and Overlord. So, with that, now that we've talked, and of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up a little later, talking about what happened on Raw last night. Also, preview a little bit of what's going on for tomorrow night on Dynamite for AEW. Also, of course, we'll have the This Day in Each History segment. So, as before we get started, let me just remind those who may be in the chat or who may be lurking that if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, with all that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started? Let's get started on the material here. Alrighty then. Here's the first article we're going to go over. All right, so Disney Plus Japan exec admits anime industry making quote a shift toward more acceptable expressions. I'm sure we all know what that's code for, right, Tim?
Well, I mean, when Disney bought Marvel, does anybody remember the first announcement they ever made?
I don't, but I
I remember hearing they said it was going to become a lifestyle brand, and nobody paid attention. I see you,
oh
Lexus.
yeah, I think you mentioned that on here before. In fact,
Yeah, and nobody, and I guess like, did anybody else hear that except for me? Because remember, everybody was like, "Well, what's a Disney like Disneyland Marvel going to be like? It's like Mickey Mouse going to make an appearance?" Nobody
well,
knew.
it is kind of funny because in history, and it was usually through Dell Comics, right? Um, Walt, they actually did have some comics. Walt Disney did have some. There were some like Mickey Mouse comics, some Donald Duck comics, etc.
Did they make an appearance with like the X-Men or anything? No.
No.
Right. Yeah.
This is long before Marvel got involved with Disney. I'm talking about Golden Age.
Oh.
There were Golden Age comics that were that basically Dell and then later Gold Key did this where they would take IPs of the from other forms of media like cartoons, and then they would adapt them into comic books. You saw a number of include Walt Disney did it, Walter Lantz Productions did it. You had some Woody Woodpecker cartoons, for example.
Well, that doesn't really.
Terry Toons did it. But that was more back in the. Now they weren't. I don't think they were.
That doesn't really count, though.
Was that?
That doesn't really count, though. People were, since Disney had bought Marvel Comics, people were wondering that, and nobody ever paid attention to the fact that Marvel said, that Disney said, we're going to make this a lifestyle brand. And no one even, I don't think people knew exactly what they meant by that.
Yeah.
So now we know.
Yeah. In order to appeal to wider audiences, to finish off the headline there, article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday. So here we go. Look at that skull face of the
Yeah.
That's got to be a horrific sight to see.
I guess so.
And that's Foot Soldier D from Dragon Keepers have won the. Oh, that's from Ranger Reject right there. All right, so let's get into the article here then. In finally giving confirmation to the bitter truth that many fans of the medium already knew, Disney Plus Japan boss Takuto Iwata has admitted that the wider anime industry is actively attempting to change its core identity in an attempt to make the medium more appealing to global audiences, particularly those located in the Western world. To the disbelief of many fans, the House of Mouse's entry into the anime business has admittedly surpassed expectations. Launching an anime-only streaming hub named Disney Plus Star in October 2021, the entertainment conglomerate has since outpaced some of their more established rivals in acquiring an impressive and popular catalog of exclusive content, including Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War, Ranger Reject, unfortunately localized as Go Loser Ranger. Oh boy. Go Loser Ranger. Okay. That's good. All right. Sandland, the series, and the entirety of the Macross catalog. Yeah, I would wonder what Metal would have to say about all that. Having overseen the service's continued growth ever since its inception, Iwata was extremely informed on the current state of the overall anime industry. When he was asked about during an April 2024 interview with Japanese news outlet Montanweb, asked for his thoughts on the fact that the general anime medium is no longer a, in smaller quotes, niche one, and I've even acknowledged that. Traditionally it's considered niche, but with more and more fans finding themselves drawn to its unique offerings every day, the head of Disney Plus Japan opined, as machine translated via DeepL, in parentheses there, quote, there is no doubt that we have undergone very significant changes over the past 10 years. Now Japanese animation is entering a golden age. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I think the golden age was back in the 90s and 2000.
That was the first boom.
Yeah. I would say that was the golden age. And that's when they
They're,
weren't trying to monkey around with it. That's when they were just translating it, just localizing it, just translating it, not trying to put their own 2 cents or their own interpretation on what it was
well,
supposed to
people
mean.
need to pay attention. This is the same thing they did with comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they, like I said, they started saying, "Oh, we're going to make it a lifestyle brand." Nobody batted an eye. Now they're doing it with Japanese anime. They're saying, "Well, we need to make it, we what do you call that, acceptable expression now." That's the new word they're using.
Yeah. So anyway, so quote, what has changed compared to 10 years ago is that we used to think of the business as a set of video games, videograms, and TV broadcasts. Um, and we used to make works for people who could buy videograms, unquote, he explained. Quote, we were making films for people who could buy videograms. Videograms are still around today, of course, but in parentheses, in brackets rather, streaming distribution has become more common. And the target audience is no longer limited to the domestic market. The rise of, in brackets, streaming distribution is why it has spread globally. Mm-hmm. It is playing a very large role as a communication tool for users around the world. I believe that Japanese animation is still in the process of evolving. Unquote. Now, mind you, let me just remind everybody in case you came in a little late here. This is from the perspective of an executive, of a Japanese anime executive. The executives have a different point of view as to the creatives. Many of the creatives have actually come out and decried this stuff. Many of the creatives and even some of the Japanese fans have decried a lot of this stuff. You know, um, so there is more of a schism there between the executives and the creatives, the people who are actually making the product, and the people who are basically, producing it. So, just kind of so you understand what's all going on. Let me, let me see. Nope, no comments yet in the chat. All right, so, um, quote, today, Japanese animation is entering a golden age. Oh, actually, no, we read that part already.
Yes,
Let's
we
see.
did.
Yeah. Oh, actually, did we? Did I? Because I just. Oh, he just reiterated what he said before there. Something that was named. Okay, yeah, because there's the second line. So, quote, today, Japanese animation entering a golden age. Yeah, well, that part we read because we just commented that I wouldn't agree with that. He acknowledged, quote, compared to 10 years ago, what has changed from something that was aimed at a limited number of fans is that people started thinking about the business of videograms, TV broadcasts, and bought videograms, unquote. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I did read all that. Okay. I did read all that. Okay. Ah, kind of hard to follow sometimes, even your own. Yawada then revealed that, quote, a few years ago, the North American market was growing. So we focused on storytelling that would be well received in North America. In Asia, a different genre was being received, and we, as creators, were conscious of the fact that we had to focus on domestic North American and Asian market. And I know that you know, I know there are a lot of I know of at least a couple of commentators who would press X to doubt on that because here's the problem with that line of thinking. Okay, the reason that the North American market is growing is because those of us in North America who are watching the product like what you're doing. You dope. We actually like what you're doing. We don't want you to give in to these fools. He said J.W. Fools. We like what you're doing. So you gotta change it to try to appeal to a wider audience. I know a number. I've seen a number of interviews, a few interviews with manga creators, right, and anime creators who basically sat there and said, "No, you keep doing what you're doing, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. You know, you don't sit there and try to change for anybody's purpose. You
Again,
either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it.
again, it's funny how history kind of repeats itself in a different way.
Hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but what's almost kind of scary about this, for particularly for those who may be non-Christians. We seem to with this whole global mentality here, we seem to be getting edging ever so closer to what in Revelations they called the New World Order.
No, you're gonna get that from people trying to force their will on other cultures, entertainment.
Well, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but the
That
idea,
is a stretch because it's like your government and entertainment are two different entities.
yeah, but if you notice, even in our government, there seems to be more of a, at least on the left. On the left, of there seems to be more interventionalism going on. There seems to be more like, oh, let's defer to the United Nations. I'm not talking about with Trump and MAGA. Okay, they're obviously no, they're not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the liberals and the people like Biden and the squad. Those
You're
individuals.
talking about people who will eventually eat each other. That's what the left does. They they'll be all like united until somebody steps out of line, and then they'll just turn on that person.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
they're
but I
phony.
mean,
They're fake.
yeah, I know it may sound like a bit of a stretch, but and because you make a good point, government and entertainment are two different things. But I mean, if you look at the article we went over, what was it, last week or the week before? You know how Disney was trying to get Congress to go after people for pirating, right? So
Yeah.
they are kind
And
of
how's that
going,
turned? And how's that turned out though? I guarantee you, it's done nothing.
yeah. But but the thing is that it's one of those things though that if if people talk about it more, it's likely not going to happen you know um God's time is not man's time, right? So,
I suppose so. Yeah.
anyways, let's get back to the article here. So, quote, now, however, the same fun and excitement can be experienced at the same time in any region, unquote. Um, yes, it can be. And again, I go back to the point I just made a few minutes ago that the reason that it is successful in North America, because North Americans like what you're doing. They don't want you to change.
Well, I pointed it out. This is history repeating itself because, again, it's outside forces weaseling in on Japanese culture, whether it be the Catholics or the Portuguese or the English.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so how's that any different? Like that, it's just an outside force trying to weasel in on Japanese culture
Yeah, it is.
and trying to
Quote,
change it.
yeah. Quote, that is how common Japanese animation has become around the world. What we thought was for the Japanese market is now accepted in all regions. I believe that the market has matured to that extent. So in his at least the way he's saying it, becoming becoming a globalist means you're maturing. Tim, what do you think of that thought process? That you're supposedly more mature if you're more quote unquote global.
Um, I think it means absolutely nothing. I think it's people just justifying we trying to weasel in on a culture that they don't belong to and making them think. okay, we need to westernize your culture because you guys don't think right.
Yeah, I think there's another term for it that more of a historical term starts with a C. Do you know what term I'm getting at? When you say it's a form of colonialism?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, like in the
It
fact
may
that
not
they're
be full blown colonialism, but it's kind of a form of it.
it's well, I mean, it's just it's a type of trying to change a culture that you're not a part of.
Yeah. Their curiosity piqued by his mention of anime's acceptance on the global stage. Monton Webb then asked Iwata, quote, Japanese animation has a history of unique evolution that's not found anywhere else. There is even a kind of radicalized expression when it comes to distribution to the world. Is it necessary to change the style? Unquote. In turn, the Disney exec opined, quote, I don't think there has been any major shift. The fundamental storytelling, the precision of the action, etc., have not changed. But there may be a shift toward adopting more acceptable expressions. What do you think that's code for? What do you think acceptable expressions is code for?
That just simply means they're gonna get interfere with their culture and tell the Japanese what they can and cannot say.
Yeah, basically the idea is tone down the sexiness, tone down the violence.
Tone down
So,
what makes Japan Japan.
right. Again, that whole globalist agenda there. you know, it does give you kind of pause.
Well, is it globalist or is it just kind of is it colonialism, as we were saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
Well, it could be a
new.
little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both. You know.
They're
Uh,
just buzzwords.
yeah. Quote, in order to be seen by many people, expressions that do not hurt or mislead people should be taken for granted. Unquote. He continued, quote, that is not a negative thing, but perhaps an evolution. When videograms were the focus, there was a tendency for only those who wanted to buy them to do so. But our awareness is changing because we are now distributing to a larger market through a service that can be viewed at any time by adults and children alike. Mm-hmm. And this Muniel from Sandland, the series. So, however, despite the industry's growing focus on Western audiences, Yawada attempted to assure the outlet that when it came to which works to distribute on Disney Plus Star, his main concern was that the given anime provide viewers with a worthwhile story. And they put in the word "and." I don't think "and" should have been put in there, but that's why I just skipped it there. Quote, I want to reiterate that our primary focus is on the best storytelling, unquote, he said. Quote, we don't have a specific genre or style of work in mind, and since our service is viewed by a diverse audience, we don't focus on any particular genre, unquote. And there's, of course, a scene from Thousand Year Blood War, Bleach. Um, to this end, Yawata took a moment to address the widespread concern many fans have held regarding Disney's motivation in acquiring the exclusive global rights to big name franchises such as the aforementioned Bleach and Macross. Quote, we understand that Disney Plus exclusive distribution of Japanese animation has been met with a certain amount of surprise, unquote, he noted. Quote, we are a distribution platform, but we are also a member of the productions we distribute. So we want to contribute to the excitement of the productions, not just stick to our own distribution. such as tie-ins with movie versions like Sandland the series, unquote. Um, Quote, the best example of this is the expansion of our collection with Kodansha, for which we are focusing on ways to boost the excitement beyond our position as a distribution platform, unquote. He stated, quote, we are working hard to make our partners and fans feel the benefits of exclusive distribution. As Disney Plus, we are trying to help bring the best of Japanese creativity and storytelling to the world, unquote. As Beelzebub from prepares to prove his fiendish worth in Sandland the series, 2023. As the conversation drew to a close, Iwata shared his optimism towards the future of anime, telling his hosts, quote, storytelling has evolved, and there is now a market that accepts anything that deviates from the high road. Quote, we also believe that no matter what the setting, the point at which people are moved remains the same, even if even if it is universal, unquote, said the exec. Quote, what is the best storytelling? We believe that it is universal and can deliver an emotional experience equally well for any time period, any country, any region, and any generation. The combinations are endless, and while new ones are continually being created, some things will never change. Unquote.
It
I kind of
sounds like he's being kind of careful what he's saying.
well, because in some ways I think it's almost like it's a veiled attempt to say yes, we are going to go woke, but we don't want to say we're going woke because we know that we'll probably be giving the middle finger to at the very least 50% of our fans, if not like 75%.
Are we jumping to conclusions here, or?
I mean, I'm just throwing out possibilities there because I mean,
Well, I mean, it's equally as annoying for people to complain about stuff
yeah.
as it is to see them make something woke. I mean, there's a reason why I don't watch Geeks and Gamers anymore, is because it's just people bitching.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it sounds like this is sugarcoating it or downplaying it something, which is typical.
Yeah. And again, I'm just giving my guess where I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that is what he's saying, but that's what a lot of people would probably interpret it as. I'm not necessarily quote unquote complaining. I'm just pointing out what is likely to be said about it.
Oh, hey, what up, Elk?
Elk is here, huh?
You sexy minx.
Let's see. Hail Xenu. Hail Mike and Tim. And all right. And friendly reminder, of course, if you guys can. Meow. Okay. Okay. Anyways, before let me finish off the. So at the time of this writing, Disney Plus Star is available worldwide except for the U.S., where all Disney licensed anime is available to stream on Hulu. All right. So there we go with that. So that's that one, and then I'll get over to the other article we're gonna do today. Yeah, so you know, anyway, so here's the next article we're going to, of course, do for tonight. This will be the last article we do. Oh, before I do get Tim, how did you like? What were your impressions overall of that article? I know you were talking about it throughout, but overall, what were your?
It just sounds like I said, it sounds like it's a different way, but it sounds like history repeating itself.
History repeating itself.
Yes, and just in a different way.
All right. So
It's like I said, it's not the Portuguese or the English or the Catholics and the Protestants. It's it's Disney kind of trying to insert itself into Japanese culture and then make it something it's not.
yeah. All right. And just a friendly reminder, everybody, if you guys haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. With that being said, let's get on to this next article. Crunchyroll acquires U.S. theater rights for upcoming Blue Lock, Haikyuu, and Overlord films. Now, of the three, I've seen Haikyuu, the anime Haikyuu. It's a volleyball anime. Pretty interesting. Another one of those underdog characters is the focus of the show, much like Naruto and a
I'm
few
very
other.
picky about the Japanese anime I like, and I mean it goes as follows: Fist of the North Star, Trigun or Trigun, how you want to pronounce it.
Try
Um,
again.
yeah, Cowboy Bebop,
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Scroll, epic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? Oh, Ghost in the Shell.
So I know the four that I know of, I know are classics. So the only one I haven't watched is Ninja Scroll, but the
Oh,
other one,
you need to see that. It's like it takes place in like in Japan's history, and I mean he fights against a guy who has a beehive for a back, and he knocks him into the water, so the bees start panicking. They start stinging him from the inside.
is it a regular series or is it like an OVA?
I don't know. I just remember I watched it years ago, and like it was 1999. And I thought it was the most awesome thing I'd ever seen.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
because I've seen a few period pieces that are pretty good. I probably will have to check that out at some
Oh,
point.
I think the female one of the female character, she's got like poison skin.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That also kind of reminds me of another anime, Basilisk. Oh wait a sec. Was it called Basilisk, the Ninja Scrolls?
Well, when I saw it, it was called Ninja Scroll.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't remember it being called Basilisk or whatever.
Well, was it about like two warring clans, basically the Koga and the Iga?
Yeah, something like that, and like like I remember like some of the villains had like I said, one had a wasp hive on his back. One had like rock skin or something like that, and she was knocked out, and he started having his way with her, but he didn't know that she had poison skin, so he ended up dying or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I know it sounds a little bit like Basilisk and Ninja Scrolls. Um, maybe at the time when you saw it, because I saw Basilisk. Sounds like one of the characters from there. So, but anyways, let's get into this. Let's get into this next article here. I've already read the headline. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published today. Um, there we go. In a double-edged development for anime fans, Crunchyroll and Sony have officially acquired U.S. theatrical distribution rights for the upcoming and highly anticipated cinematic entries in the Blue Lock, Haikyuu, and Overlord series. And the interesting thing about the Haikyuu one, the Haikyuu anime was actually licensed, or was actually the anime was distributed actually by Sentai Filmworks, which is the company based out of Houston. Whereas Crunchyroll kind of took over for Funimation. Um, um, on the second day of this year's CinemaCon, Crunchyroll revealed um, that the Sony-owned Sony-owned anime streaming platform, had acquired the North American and select global rights for the cinematic um, anime adaptation of Blue Lock spin-off episode Nagi, the first part of the Haikyuu final duology, decisive battle at the garbage dump, and the third cinematic entry to the Overlord anime franchise, The Sacred Kingdom. There's set right after the anime's fourth season, Haikyuu, to the top, decisive battle at the garbage dump. Oh, were you about to say something, Tim?
No.
Okay. Is the first entry of the Haikyuu, of the Haikyuu final film duology, intended to serve as a conclusion to the production IG's anime adaptation of Haruchi Fundate's beloved volleyball manga. The first Haikyuu final movie, Decisive Battle at the Garbage Dump, will cover the Karasuno High School's Crows' highly anticipated decisive clash against the Cats of Nekoma High School. Haikyuu final movie, Decisive Battle at the Garbage Dump, will spike into North American theaters in Japanese with English subtitles and English language dub on May 31st. So the end of this month, basically. The final Friday of this month. The cinematic adaptation of Kota Sanomiya and Yusuke Nomura Blue Lock spinoff manga, episode Nagi, is a retelling of Muneyuki Kaneshiro and Yusuke Nomura Blue Lock story for soccer prodigy Nagi Seishiro's, who is voiced in the Japanese by Nobunaga Shimazaki, who provided the voice of Hayato Suo in Windbreaker. Perspective starting from his life-changing encounter with his best friend Ryo Mikage, voiced by Yuma Uchida in the Japanese, who provided the voice of Sunraku in Shangri-La Frontier, through the treacherous Blue Lock project. Crunchyroll and Sony Pictures Entertainment will kick off Blue Lock, the movie, episode Nagi, in the North American theaters in Japanese with English subtitles and English language dub on June 28th. Picking up where the anime's fourth season left off, Madhouse's third cinematic anime entry to the Overlord anime franchise, The Sacred Kingdom, adapts Paladin of the Holy Kingdom of Kugane Maruyama and Sobin's fantasy isekai light novel. In order to stop Demon Emperor Jalada Baoth's invasion, Overlord, the Sacred Kingdom, sees Sorcerer King of the titular Sacred Kingdom, Ains Oal Gown's undead army, joins forces with the kingdom's enemies in the neighboring human territory of slain theocracy to take on the demon emperor's evil demi-human army. All right. At the time of this writing, Crunchyroll and Sony Pictures Entertainment have yet to confirm North American theatrical releases theirs, or I guess it's supposed to be dates. Somebody hit the wrong key there. For Overlord, the Sacred Kingdom. Further, before fans rush out to buy tickets, it should be noted that neither entity have yet to promise that any of the three films will release without any unnecessary alterations made to the English dub and subtle scripts. In other words, quote unquote, the idea, they don't know if they're gonna, localize it with wokeism is I think what you're getting at. As such, audiences should be wary that there remains a stark possibility, especially in light of Crunchyroll's recent controversies related to the matter, that screenings of each may end up being censored or filled with ideological buzzwords in some way.
Okay, so it's gonna become bullshit.
Right.
So so don't watch it.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
with that,
what else can you do? I mean, if people complain, they're not gonna care. So the only logical thing to do is just not watch it.
so actually, Metal stopped in here. Hey, Metal. So let's see. I reject ninja anime on the grounds it will inevitably be declared racist within 10 years, and everyone with favorable impressions of ninja entertainment will retroactively be named racist.
Well, then I guess I'll be named racist.
Well, Naruto is probably considered one of the best ninja anime of all time. If people try to say that Naruto is racist or anybody who watches Naruto is racist, they're an idiot.
Yes.
It's actually quite a good story about an underdog type character who succeeds, you know, despite the obstacles that are placed in front of them. So,
And if anybody calls me racist, I will refer to them to my dick. They can suck it.
ouch. Same with Shaolin monk depictions. Let's see. The metal is. Let's see. You want a link metal? This is your area expertise. Oh, were you inviting Metal to join us in the?
If he said yeah, I'd send him a link, but he probably didn't.
Huh. Oh, did he actually say yes that he wanted to come in, or
No,
no?
no, he didn't.
All right. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, we could have probably brought him in for that if he'd wanted. You can say that now, but Mark Twain's master work has been retroactively banned. Oh, are you talking about? Oh, he's talking about Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, basically.
Oh well, that just means that I want to read it even more. So I'll put that on my reading list. I don't like people telling me what I can and cannot read.
Go Tim. All right. So with that being said, those are the two articles that we're going to get into tonight. And now we're going to move on to the wrestling wrap up here. Of course, first off, we're going to go over last night's WWE Raw. As one of the news pieces that was announced initially, of course, Asuka was to participate in the upcoming Queen of the Ring tournament, but had to be pulled due to the fact she got injured. So, here are the results from last night's Raw. I'll read them off here. Ninja now, Ninja forever. In the King of the Ring, in the King of the Ring 2024 first round match, Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor. In a first round match for the Queen of the Ring, Io Sky of Damage Control defeated Natalia. Okay, let's see. So let's see. All right, I'm instead of just going straight through, I'm gonna. So for the King of the Ring first round matches, Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor. Ilya Dragunov, who was just recently called up to the main roster from NXT, defeated Ricochet, and Gunther defeated Sheamus in the main event of the night. In the Queen of the Ring first round matches, Io Sky defeated Natalia. Zoe Sky defeated Ivy Nile, and Lyra Valkyrie defeated Dakota Kai. Now, Dakota Kai, of course, took Asuka's place in the tournament, as it were. And then in the other match that happened last night, Bronson Reed and Chad Gable went to a no contest. So that's all that happened on Raw. Now, for getting ready for a little preview of tomorrow night's Dynamite, AEW Dynamite. Let's see what they have scheduled for tomorrow night's Dynamite as they look to build towards Double or Nothing pay per view at the end of the month here. Their next pay per view, of course, will be Double or Nothing, which are coming up on the 26th. But coming into this Wednesday night, night's Dynamite. Let's see what they have. So already slated for tomorrow night's Dynamite, Mariah May will be taking on Harley Cameron. Adam Copeland defends the TNT title against Brody King. Adam Copeland, for those of you who may not know, is the guy formerly known as Edge. Since the Edge identity was technically the property of WWE, could not take that with them. Orange Cassidy will be taking on Trent Beretta. So that's all. So that's all we got on the AEW side of things. Of course, probably be talking more about the results of that on Thursday. But with that, soon I can. So with that, let's see. And I know it looks like you and Tim. It looks like you and Elka having a little back and forth here in the chat. Let's see what you guys are going for. I, for one, will be.
He thinks the word ninja is racist, and he can kiss my ass.
Well, ninja means assassin, you know.
So apparently, the word ninja is racist because it means assassin. What a stupid way of thinking. You know, he doesn't believe that people should own characters, and he tries to control words. He's a liberal on all fronts.
Anyways, so with that, so now that we're done with the wrestling history, so now it's time, of course, to so now it's time to look back at, with today being Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. And tonight we only have a couple of items in history because we're hitting a slow point right now. As first off, on this date 10 years ago today, the 20th issue of Archer and Armstrong from Valiant Comics went on sale on this date 10 years ago today. It sold for $3.99 with 32 pages. The story was called Morrison Hotel. It was written by Fred Van Lente, with art by Pete Perez, lettering done by David Sharp, and David Barron did the coloring. So 10 years ago today, Morrison, the 20th issue of Archer and Armstrong, story titled Morrison Hotel, went on sale on this date 10 years ago today, back in 2014. So with that, let's get ready to move on to the next piece in each history. And on this date 5 years ago today, on a live edition of WWE SmackDown, SmackDown took place from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. And on the main event of the evening saw Kofi Kingston retain the WWE title in a triple threat match over AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. Also, the card saw Daniel Bryan and Rowan defeat the Usos to become the new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions, which had been vacated for some reason. Of course, Ali versus Andrade ended in a no contest. And that's all we got for you in terms of history. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. And of course, before we head out for the night, Tim, would you like to do an outro before we head out?
Yes, Melvin number 1 2 special editions on Walmart, Barnes and Noble, and Amazon websites.
All right. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.